Hello there, my name is Alaydriem, and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock tutorial with your favorite cardigan-wearing Minecraft character. And today in this episode, I'm here to show you how to build this wonderful, simple, and easy to use raid farm for your Minecraft Bedrock 1.20 world. As you can see, this raid farm is incredibly tiny. It takes up almost no space to run. It is incredibly efficient at taking out mobs, and with the looting 3 enchantment, we'll be generating you thousands of items every single hour, ranging from redstone dust, sugar, glowstone dust, bottles, potions, enchanted books, totems of undying, armor, and weapons. And on top of that, all the experience that you will ever need wrapped up in one convenient package. This farm is fully automatic and AFK-able and perfectly safe. You can stand here in the designated spawn spot. You won't be attacked by ravagers, vex, evoker claws, or anything else that these nasty mobs can stick out of you. You will collect all the experience as it passes over you, and you'll be generating all of the emeralds and totems of undying that you could possibly ever need. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and cover the farm mechanics as we go through the build and dive straight into the tutorial. And just as a reminder, if you like this video and decide to build in your world, please consider leaving the video a like and subscribing, as it really does help the channel. Let's get on with the tutorial. Now, to get started with this raid farm, you're first going to want to find a pillager outpost. Now, for the pillager outpost, almost anyone would do, but I would recommend trying to find one in a plains or one of these flower meadow biomes, and try to find one that is the tallest structure in the area, as that will help us eliminate some spawn inconsistencies. You also want to make sure that you do not find one that is inside of a snow biome where snow can fall on the roof here, as that will greatly interfere with the spawn rates, as the snow can basically create a block that these guys can spawn on. Now, the spawn spot for these pillager outposts is almost always going to be in the same spot, but not all of these pillager outposts are created equally. So the way we're going to test that is get rid of all of these pillagers, and we are going to come over here to the west side of this build. Now, west, I have the sun setting, so that is west. That means this way is north. If you are doing this at midday or some other time, the easiest way to find your direction here in the overworld is just to grab yourself a sunflower, and once you have that sunflower, place it down on a dirt block. Sunflowers always face to the east, which is the way the sun rises, both in the real world and in Minecraft, and the other direction is west. Now, mobs in Minecraft Bedrock always spawn on the northwest corner, which is going to be this spot right here. And in a pillager outpost, it is always 2 blocks over and 2 blocks down from this dark oak pillar that we have right here. It's not always going to be aligned with the stairs, so test this on each thing, but come 2 diagonal blocks in, and this is our spawn spot. All of our mobs are going to spawn inside of that northwest corner, and again, you're going to want to make sure that this is aligned correctly in your world, and because every pillager outpost is going to be rotated a certain degree. So make sure you have this aligned so it's actually the northwest corner as opposed to some random corner where the staircase is. Now, the easiest way to confirm that you have actually found the spawn spot is to place these glass panes here and then just back up and forwards to the spawn spot about 20 or 30 blocks or so, and you should see with some reliable consistency that you are getting pillagers or pillager captains spawning inside of that glass box. You might need to do this 1 or 2 times, but after about 3 or 4 times at most, you should finally see a mob spawn in there, and you're going to want to verify that you're getting a mob spawning in this spot with some relative frequency. If for some reason you aren't seeing a mob spawn, then you need to double check that you have the correct spawn spot. And if you are not seeing a mob spawn in here rather frequently, like we're seeing right here, you might want to consider finding yourself another pillager outpost, because some pillager outposts just don't want to spawn these mobs here in these consistent intervals, and you want one that will spawn one in here continuously, because otherwise it makes getting bad omen really difficult. Once you have verified that, we're going to go ahead and knock off all the top of this pillager outpost. You can get rid of all these fences, all of these stone walls here, and we're basically going to create a flat surface to work with. So go ahead and get rid of this roof. Next, we're going to build our bad omen killer that will generate bad omen for us. And it is very important that you have this oriented in the correct direction, because we're going to be exploiting the fact that mobs spawn on the northwest corner. So to go ahead and get started with this, grab yourself 2 staircases. You're going to place them so that water flows to this northwest corner around this marker block right here, as shown. We're going to surround all of this with glass here and here. And then you're going to come up here and align all of these blocks with another layer of glass. Once this layer of glass is knocked in, go ahead and knock out this block right down here. And then we're going to place a water in this stair and then a water in this stair. And you should see that that water flows but does not cover our marker block. If for some reason that is covering your marker block, you're going to need to reorient this. Go ahead and place down a torch, cover the roof with some glass, and place another glass block right here. And then we're going to make our Trident killer to kill all of our mobs. We're going to place down a piston pointed into this block, and then we're going to have a very simple observer clock. So have the dot face up to that piston, and then another observer pointed down. And then you can go ahead and fill in any spot that you have, place in a sticky piston with a lever, and then that will allow you to turn this on and off. Very, very simple. Now, the last part that we need to do here is to cover up this spot right here with 2 pieces of glass, and then we are going to cover the entirety of this build, including the piston and the observer here, with leaves of any kind. So leave, and then we're going to cover all of this with leaves just to prevent any mobs from spawning up here. Once all of this is in place, go ahead and grab yourself a Trident with the Impaling 5 enchantment, and you're going to want to throw that in this spot right here. Then we can cover that spot up with leaves, turn our contraption on, and you should see that that piston is hitting that Trident, and this will ensure that we kill any mobs that spawn in here. Just back up and forth a couple times to make sure that you are getting a mob to actually spawn. You should see one spawn in, and if you are really lucky like I am, you will get the bad omen enchantment. Once you verified you have that, go ahead and turn the machine off, drink yourself some milk to clear the effect, and then down here, we will come back to this later, I promise. You're just going to want to place a button on this block right here. Basically, you just want to prevent that water from flowing while you're working with this, and then we can come on out of this. So we are now ready to start working on the next part of our build, and to do that, we're going to want to go up 40 blocks from our current position. So we are currently at Y level 131, directly above our spawn spot. You're going to want to go up 40 blocks. So in our case, this is going to go all the way up to Y level 171. This is going to be where our AFK platform is. And at this point, you can clear out everything below this if you want. You don't need all of these other leaves. Up here on your AFK platform, you're going to want to build a 3x3 space with the center here aligned directly above your spawn platform down below, and you're going to build out with 3 solid blocks out in any direction. It really doesn't matter. Place a bell down underneath the last one. Then we're going to place a bed down on top of the other 2. Once that bed is down, you can then replace these bottom 2 blocks with the leaves that we have here, and you want to make sure that the bed is facing outward rather than inwards to you. So you should have something that looks like this. We can now cover up this bed with leaves, and we're going to leave this side of the bed open just so that we can bring our villager in later. But go ahead and build this up 2 blocks, and we will cap this off once we bring our villager in. Coming back over here to our AFK platform, you're going to want to place leaves over here and go up 3 levels. Place another set of 3 leaves here, another set of 3 leaves over here, and this is going to be our AFK platform here in this corner, and then give ourselves a little back wall so that nothing can get in. Our AFK platform for this farm is going to be right here. It is directly above our spawn spot, 40 blocks, and you can see right down there is where our lower Trident killer is. Now with our spawn platform and now in place, we're going to go ahead and build our upper Trident killer. So coming over here on this corner block, we're going to extend out 7 blocks and make this 2 wide. This is going to be where our mobs fall in and where they get crushed by our Trident killer. We're going to want to corner this off and cover the sides with it as shown here. We're going to place a leaf here, and then we're going to do the same thing along the back. So 2 blocks over the back, that will be 8 blocks out total, 7 on our total platform. And then we have a leaf here, leaf here. We're going to cover this up, and this is going to end up being a water stream. You can go ahead and bring this out 7 blocks from the very end. And then we're going to go ahead and place a temporary block here in this position, and then a temporary block in these positions. They need to be solid blocks because we're going to take a water bucket, place that here. You should see that flow all the way to the edge, but not spill over. And then we can go ahead and replace that glass block that we placed in with leaves again. And then over here, we're going to do the exact same thing, place a water bucket in that position, and you should see water flow all the way to our other water stream that we have right here. So with this water stream now in place, all of our mobs are going to fall down here. They're going to get crushed by a trident, and the water is going to carry all of the items away. So go ahead and grab yourself a glass block, and we're going to build up 2 high and 2 over directly on the end here. And then we are going to make ourselves our killing platforms. So move out another 2 blocks, replace that. And then we're going to bring this out so that we have a 1 block gap. Fill all of these blocks in with glass just so that we can see in. And then right down here, place these 2 air blocks with regular glass blocks as well. Place another block here, and then we're going to place in a piston. It's the exact same thing that we did below. We're going to have, instead of a vertical observer tower for our trident killer, we're going to have one that's horizontal. So build yourselves a very simple observer clock, and then we are going to place a sticky piston here on the side so that we can toggle this on and off. Make sure that that is 2 blocks over. Go ahead and remove our temporary block, leave her at the bottom, on and off, and that will turn our clock off. So at this point, we can go ahead and fill all of these blocks on top with leaves. Place a leaf block here, and then we are going to grab another impaling 5 trident and place that right there by our piston. At this point, our mobs are going to come underneath here. They're going to fall underneath this block, and then they're going to get smacked in the head with that trident, die, and drop all of their loot. And that is our upper trident killer now complete. Next, we're going to move on to our spawn platform, and this is going to be 10 blocks long. So go ahead and build out 10 blocks, and we're going to cover the back 2 as shown here, make that 2 wide, and then we're going to extend out another 2 blocks and also make this 2 wide on each sides. We're making this 2 wide so that when any of the mobs spawn inside of here, they don't get pushed through a wall and fall out. This will either cause them to suffocate or not spawn there. We're going to knock out these into pieces here with leaves, and then build out 3 leaves over here on this platform, fill this remaining gap in with glass, and then we're going to build up again and around this with glass as well. This is going to ensure that any of the ravagers that we have cannot spawn into this area, and will ensure that they get killed with our lava trap. We're going to go ahead and build up another 2 levels, so go ahead and wrap this around. We're going to go ahead and do that on all sides. Make sure you do the same thing with the glass, and then we're going to go up another level. Go ahead and wrap that around just as so. And then once this 4th layer is now in place, you want to grab yourself a button. Stone buttons work great, and you can align the glass and the block of your choice with these stone buttons here. Next, we're going to go ahead and build up the sides here. So just wrap this around one more time. Going to do the same thing on the other side and the back as well. And once we have this in place, we're going to go up 2 more layers. The next layer is going to hold our lava trap. So we need to make sure that this is fully covered. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the outside. And then on the glass section, make sure that you fill this in with glass as well. Grab yourself a few lava buckets, and then we're going to want to place lava over all of these buttons in such a way that the lava flows. So you're going to need about 10 lava buckets in total. Make sure you do this on each side, and you should see that lava flows over each of these buttons. If for some reason you missed one, go ahead and just pop another lava bucket here, and that will finish the outflow for you. Now, One thing you might actually want to do before this that I didn't do well in the video is fill this back portion with water. You should see that water flow to the very end here. Place a button here, and then you're going to want to place water here and here. Then once that is in place, you can hop on out of here, and then we're going to cap this section off. To cap this section off, you're going to want to build up yet another layer on top. So we're going to do that with the glass, and then sandstone or whatever your block of choice is in any other location here. You're going to want to make sure that this is double-sided as well. And then for the finishing touches, grab yourself some glass blocks, place them on top, only in the center, 2 blocks above where your lava is. And then we're going to cover the rest of this structure on top with leaves. So leaves in this position here, leaves on the front, leaves on top of all of this. And then we're going to do leaves on the sides and the back as well. And with that all done, your raid farm is now complete. All of the structure necessary to run your raid farm is fully in here. The only thing that we need to do now is take care of our item collection center. For our item collection, you're going to want to place an additional set of leaves here and here. And then below this, you're going to want to place some blocks so that our water stream can ensure that these items fall down straight. If you want to test this, throw some items in, or better yet, just grab yourself and pop yourself right down. This is where your items are going to end up. So we're going to make a very simple cache that's just going to combine the previous water stream that we had and this new water stream. So simply make yourself some glass little locations for this. This is just going to catch our water. You're going to go ahead and line that on both sides, and then over here just align this with where that water is coming from our lower Trident killer, and then we're just going to merge those. So down here in this location, you're going to want to line all of this with glass. Do the same thing over here. You can really use any lock, but I like using glass because it helps you see in case anything isn't working super great. You can go ahead and knock out this button finally, and then fill the water in with that, and then fill in the remaining portion with glass. Once that is in place, you're probably going to be hitting your water flow limit, so you're going to want to drop that down 1 block, and then all we're going to do is merge these 2 water streams. So go ahead and extend that out, cover the sides, and here you can basically place a chest. We're going to just cap this off for now to keep it simple, but you would place a hopper or a chest or really anything that you want in order to collect that. Finally, in this position right here where our water is flowing in, go ahead and place down a water bucket. It's going to want to be on the lower portion. If you've made this too high, make sure you have it capped off, and you should see that the water flows down. Cap the rest of this off with leaves, and your collection system is now set to go. And like I said earlier, collecting this is really simple. You can build yourself an item sorter, an item categorizer. Just to keep things simple for this video, I'm just going to place down a hopper and a couple of chests. This will simply show that the collection system is working, but feel free to expand this with whatever one you want. I have a item sorter on my channel that I'll have a link for down in the description. Next, we're going to go ahead and bring in our villager, and the easiest way to do this is to just build yourself scaffolding that goes all the way up to this spot. You're going to want to go up about 4 or 5 more blocks, and then down here at the bottom, grab yourself a boat, grab yourself a villager, place him in here, and then with a lead, you're going to lead your villager and the boat on top of the scaffolding. I'd recommend you pull him just so he's underneath it, and then you should just be able to climb the scaffolding, and in the boat he should follow you up. Just go 3 or 4 blocks up at a time, pause for the lead to catch up to you, and before you know it, this villager will be all the way at the top. Keep a close eye on the right hand of your screen where the lead is to make sure that it doesn't snap and you haven't gone too far, but after a very short while, this is a very incredibly easy way to get this guy all the way up. Now, if for some reason you see that he's kind of getting caught on this solid block where the bell is, you might need to temporarily knock that out of place and replace the bell. If this isn't affecting you, you don't need to do it, but as you can see right here, he got trapped by the solid block, so we're going to knock that out temporarily, place scaffolding there so we can climb up, and then we're going to bring him up above so he's nice and level with this. Once your villager is up here, just build him a very simple platform so that he doesn't fall off, because moving a villager into here is honestly going to be the hardest part of this entire process. And then once you have this in place, you can go ahead and break this boat, and your villager should walk right into the bed. Now, what will make this easier for you by a lot is to make sure that it's nighttime when you're doing this, because if it's nighttime, he will jump straight in this bed and fall asleep, which we're going to need for the next part. But for now, go ahead and close this off. Place a block directly above his head, and then directly above it. And then we're going to place another block here and here, and go ahead and get rid of our temporary blocks. And then if you did need to replace the bell, go ahead and replace that with a solid block and a bell directly below where we had knocked it out previously. In our case, that's going to be right here. So solid block, bell underneath it. You should see some particles around that shortly. That means that he is being promoted to be the village leader. And our raid farm is basically done at this point. Now, you are going to want to make sure for this next part that it is nighttime, because we do want him to lay down, because we're going to place a solid block right above his head right here. So solid block with a leaf here, and then 2 more leaves above it. This will prevent mobs from spawning on top of his bed, and it will also keep him safe. So I'm going to change it back today. As you can see, he stays in there. That villager will stay nice and safe, but we won't have any mobs spawn in there from our raid farm. Now at this point, your raid farm is now complete. This is going to be your AFK spot. You can go ahead and place scaffolding here, or do really whatever you want, as long as it's scaffolding or leaves, to make sure that we don't have any mobs spawning. And with that, our raid farm is now complete. The only thing you need to do before you run it is just make sure you have everything covered with leaves, and also make sure that both of your impaling 5 tridents are still in place. If you start this farm without the impaling 5 tridents, you're going to have to fix it while you have a mob spawning, which in survival mode is going to be a little bit tricky. So make sure that both of these are in place, and make sure that all of these blocks here that are not leaves are covered in a leaf block to prevent spawning. Once you've verified that, go ahead and give that lever a flick. You can go ahead and climb all the way up, and about halfway up, or at most 40 blocks up, you should start getting the bad omen effect from all of the mobs that are spawning down in your lower Trident killer. So as you can see right here, we have now received our effect, and we just got another one actually. And then we're going to flip this lever right here to start our upper Trident killer. Try to get this done before the raid bar starts, and park yourself right here in this corner and enjoy your raid farm working. Now, when you're in survival mode, as you can see here, our upper Trident killer is taking care of all of our mobs for you, and I'm in creative mode, but in survival, the experience is going to flow right over your head. If I change myself over, as you can see here, that experience is flowing into my hotbar, meaning I am getting it 100% of the time. You should be perfectly safe here. I have run this farm for about 48 hours on 2 accounts continuously, and haven't had any issues with ravagers breaking leaves, things spawning in the wrong locations. Haven't had any Vex come down to attack me, or evoker claws come down. But if you are worried about those things, one thing that I recommend that you do is place yourself down a beacon with the healing and resistance, and any type of armor that you might want to wear could also be beneficial too. I don't recommend wearing your nice super set of netherite armor, since that is now super difficult and frustrating to get. But if you have yourself some diamond armor with some simple protection enchantments, or some thorns, or really whatever makes you feel safe, this would be a great armor to put on. But it is not explicitly necessary. Like I've said, I've ran this on 2 accounts for 48 hours continuously, and it didn't take any damage the entire time. While you are standing in this spot, mobs in the lower Trident killer should continue to spawn and give you the bad omen effect. However, a couple notes for running this farm. First and foremost, there's our bad omen effect right there. You might want to move around just a little bit, maybe put some tension on a controller, or have an auto-hotkey just kind of push you forward and back for a little bit. For some reason, I've seen that if you run the farm for long enough, Minecraft starts to realize that you're AFK and mobs aren't actually spawning below you. Moving around can help clear that state, and will ensure that mobs spawn below continuously over that 12-ish hour mark. The only other thing that you really need to check with this farm is to make sure that your Trident killers don't accidentally bump the Tridents out of the way. This can happen if you are on a server or a realm or something where you have a really high ping connected to. The easiest way to fix this is just to shut everything down, pick up the Tridents, and rethrow it in the spot that we designated. This shouldn't be a big issue, but if you are running on a server that you have a lot of high latency to, or occasionally on realms this may happen, all you'll need to do is rethrow the Trident and you will be back in business. This usually only happens if there's some sort of lag in your world though, so if you're on a local world, you shouldn't have any problems. But that's going to be it for me in this episode. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments about this farm, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I do read every comment and try to respond to every single comment that's posted here. So if you have something you want to talk about, leave it down in the comments because I love talking to you guys. But that's going to be it for me. If you do decide to build this farm and you have found it successful in your world, please consider leaving this video a like, and please consider subscribing, as we are getting very close to 500 subscribers on our road to get to 1,000 subscribers, and it would be super duper appreciated. But like I said, that's going to be it for me in this episode. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.